It starts, at the very, technical level. We do what I call the basics, right? It's the basics of IT security, or what I call basic hygiene. Doing things that ensure data is protected, particularly online, like implementing good encryption, right? Making sure that our laptops and mobile devices are encrypted if they're carrying sensitive data. Doing things like making sure that we have good access controls, very, very strong passwords and access to data. Making sure that that we're doing what we need to do on a day-to-day basis. That kind of falls back into the CRISP activity, where we see online storage, data storage technologies, making sure that they have the latest patches. This is all basic hygiene things. What happens in the security realm when you usually have security incidents, it's usually because you got away from the basics and the fundamentals. So my focus on right now, and that's always going to be a focus for us, particularly for protecting online data, is going back to the basics. And they're very rudimentary things, but they're very proven things that work very, very well. There's a policy level for that. There's a technology level, and then there's all these processes that we involve as well. Very, very extensive. When you come into VA and you look at what we do from a security perspective, it's pretty impressive. We do some other things where we protect veterans' data online. We work with external companies where we do fraud management. We do a level of fraud management for veterans' data. We see that data may be used in an improper way out in the world. We alert veterans to that, and it may not be a result of anything that VA has done, but we're looking at their identities to make sure they're not being misused. So that's another thing that we do online that very few people know about, that we actually do. We manage about 20 million identities for fraud management for veterans. So I'll look at it a couple different ways. I'll look at trends from the attack side. When you look at security, what's going on, we're seeing more attacks. We're seeing more attacks that are getting increasingly sophisticated. We're seeing that when an intruder has the ability to get into the organization, into your network, that they're making pathways and allowances to maintain a presence in the network by hiding themselves, basically. We're seeing that trend uptick more and more. As you find the attacker in the network, what we're finding out is that the trend is that they usually have a toolkit or bag to hide themselves deeper. So as you find one tool that they're using, they move up to the next more sophisticated tool. On the security side, we're doing just to combat that. We're coming out with more and more sophisticated tools, security tools, implementing those. Always going back, making sure that we're doing things, going back to the basics of security, hygiene, doing things like strong authentication, where we have the PIV cards that the federal employees wear around their necks for accessing data, implementing more and more better, stronger security controls at the network level, at the desktop level, mobile devices, managing mobile devices better, including stronger and stronger security on mobile devices. The trend is today on the security side, what we're seeing is that mobility while it's a great productivity tool, it comes with some inherent security risk. So our trend is to get on top of, you're seeing more and more organizations, including VA, get on top of the mobility aspect and how do you manage mobile devices. We have about 18,000 or so smartphones. We probably have about 40,000 laptops in our inventory that you have to track, and track, not just track the device per se, but track the security profile on that device. So the trend is heavy government-wide on mobile device management, and we're finding that that's going to carry out for quite a while, because we're starting to see the traditional network is kind of going away, and it's going more and more to it's without boundaries. Everything's going mobile. I would say stick to the basics. Don't overcomplicate anything. basic hygiene, password, patching, good configuration management, good standards, use good standards and best practices. I would also say that shift towards what I would call continuous monitoring, what the government's called continuous monitoring, where you are evaluating security controls on your most critical systems, and you always have situational awareness of what's taking place with that system, using tools that you already have in-house. So you always know the who, what, when, where, why around systems, or your most critical systems. So it's cost effective, I believe, and you get a lot of bang for your buck when you go to using more automation on the security side of the house. So I would push for a lot of automation in an organization using in-house tools that you more than likely already have. We're going to see more embedded security in devices. Consumerism's out there. Everybody wants their consumer device. They want to bring it into the organization. So security from a device level technology is going to have to be embedded. It's going to have to be an inherent part of the device. We're starting to see a little bit of that start to happen, where you buy a laptop and the laptop comes with an encrypted hard drive. So your product companies out there are getting smart about security, and I don't think it's just from a government perspective. I think it's private industry as well, or maybe the individual user. I think also security is going to have to get even more agile. Security has a tendency to be, in the past, and I think in some degree now, it had a tendency to slow things down. Businesses want to run fast. They want to run right away, and they want to be able to function. And security had a tendency to slow that down. It had a tendency to impede all of those things. So security has to get more agile. We have to get smarter about how we implement security, because we don't have the dollars. No organization has the dollars to cover every security issue. So you have to get smart about how you manage risk, and applying the right amount of dollars and budget to cover your most significant risk around your most significant assets. So we just have to get smarter again, I think, in how we think about security and how we plan for security, and making sure that it's flexible.